Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. We're starting off with what I'm expecting to be a fairly busy weekend on the channel, with a brand new debut on the channel, and we're going to have quite a few of those as well this weekend, as we play Slay the Spire, the board game by Contention Games. In Slay the Spire, we are taking control of one of the characters from the video game in a deck building adventure. It's essentially a roguelike dungeon crawl. Admittedly, I've never played the video game, but I have played the board game with my gaming group on Saturdays, so we'll be giving this a go, and we'll see how this goes. We are going to finish a little bit of setup, though. I'll introduce the character that I'm playing as, then we'll jump in. Actually, let's go ahead and introduce the character right here. So we are playing as the Silent. This is the character I played as the first time I played this game. So my copy is getting played for the first time. I've got 3 energy, no block, and 9 hit points to start with. And at the start of combat, I draw 2 extra cards. So I'll have 7 cards in my opening hand. I mainly work with... The Silent mainly works with poison and shivs, and I'll explain how those work. Well, actually, we can explain those now. So the shiv, we can spend those for 1 damage, but that counts as an attack. Poison at the end of turn loses 1 HP, ideally, on the enemies. Okay, we got the token tray, I've got the cubes all set, decks are all ready to go. The board, we've chosen that, so we'll go ahead and flip the map tokens over. You may see some hidden tokens here. So we'll work from the bottom and go up. So this first light token we've got, that's another enemy encounter. That is not something I like seeing. So we'll go to this dark token, and here we'll find another enemy encounter. Then this one, this is another dark. Ugh, we've got an elite pretty early up. That's gross. And a light token here gives us an opportunity to hit the merchant. Then a light token over here. We've got a campfire where we can get some rest or upgrade a card. Next up, we've got another guaranteed campfire. Next token up is another enemy encounter. This one is an elite. Yikes. Oop. This next token is an event. Then another campfire. Then we've got another elite, so we're going to be fighting at least... Well, there may be a way we can avoid elites, but we'll see about that. Since I'm playing solo, the strategy obviously needs to be different than if I was with a group. We'll flip that over to find another merchant. Then we've got another event, and I think these are probably both elites, but let's see what we've got. That's an event, and that's an enemy encounter. Okay. So let's finish up setup, and then I'll talk about mapping my way up to where the boss is eventually going to go up here. So we'll flip this back open. We just laid out the map tokens. Character figure's already been placed, so there's our character, the Silent. I believe is what we established that this one was. Yes. Okay, reveal the boss, so we'll go ahead and roll the die for which boss we're going to put out. 1, 2, we get this boss. 3, 4, we get this one. 5, 6, we get this boss. That's a 2, so we're fighting against this boss, which means these 2 can go back toward the box. We no longer need them. Okay. I'm just going to try to somewhat organize this mess at least a little bit. Let's see, reveal the boss, which we did that. The boot meeple is placed right here at the bottom. Player aid merchant board, which I've got that up here as well. Actually, I could probably move that up here, give myself a little bit more room to play my cards out. So actually, I will move my character up there. That way I've got this space right here to play my cards out. Let's see, then Niao's Blessing. So we've got a Niao's Blessing. So off of this card, we'll gain the reward in red, and then one of the options in blue. So let's see what our choices are here. So we gain 3 gold, and I believe that's a card. Reveal 3 card rewards, place 1 in your deck. Okay, so reveal 3 card rewards. Actually, we'll give this a quick shuffle. I'll get the 3, let's get the 3 gold out. Then I'll shuffle up my rewards. I did shuffle last night, but I'll give this another quick shuffle just so you guys know I'm not up to any funny business here. You might have also seen 2 more gold there. Because I am playing solo, I do start with an extra 2 gold. Now, there is a way here that I could theoretically bypass all of the elites on this dungeon path, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself on that. All right, 1, 2, and 3. First reward up that we have to choose from is a Cloak and Dagger. It's a skill which would give me a shiv and a block, but it would cost me 1 energy to play. I'll explain more about how that works when we get into the first turn. Second up is a Backstab for 0. 2 combat plus 2 damage if the enemy is at... Or 2 damage plus 2 damage if the enemy is at full HP. Exhaust. And exhaust is a keyword. I'm trying to remember what it means. I think exhaust means it comes out of the deck until the next combat. There should be a section in here to explain keywords. That's combat setup. That's not completely what I want. Oh, here we go. Exhaust. Remove from your deck. Return to the deck at the end of combat. Okay. And then our last card to choose from is a Piercing Wail. 1 block. That's an AoE attack, an AoE break weapon, and exhaust. I don't particularly like the 2 exhaust cards here, so I think we'll take the Cloak and Dagger. I'll add that to my deck. Then we'll give this a shuffle. Okay, so we're all set there. And then our other options are to remove a card, gain another 5 gold, or upgrade 2 random cards and lose 3 gold. I think I'm going to take the gain 5 gold because I'd rather be able to control my upgrades, and removing cards, while nice, I don't usually like to do that until, again, I can control that. So there's the 5 gold from that. Niao's Blessing. Since we are playing solo, as I mentioned, I gain the 2 gold, but I also get the Loaded Die Relic. So at the start of the player turn, I'll roll a die to see what's active. On a 4 or 5, that'll give me a guaranteed block. 6 will let me trigger a Die Relic ability. And with that, we are set for the first encounter, so we can start combat. So we've got the first encounter deck over here. On the board. Alright, so let's grab our first encounters. We'll give these a quick shuffle as well. And a 4-card unsleeved shuffle is a pretty bad shuffle. I haven't yet figured out how I want to sleeve these, or if I want to. I'm thinking, well, if I sleeve these, they're definitely going to be in clear because I do need to see the back of the cards. All right, this will be our first encounter. So our first encounter here is a small slime, which also summons an acid slime. Reward is going to be, it's got 3 health. Reward is a potion and upgrade a card, right? There should be a section for rewards there. Yes. And then rewards are... I thought there was a section for... Oh, here we go. So, yep, that's an upgrade and gain a potion. But we also need to get an acid slime out, since the small slime comes with a minion. And here's our acid slime. I'm probably going to alphabetize the summon deck. It's got 5 health, so we roll a die for what it's actually doing. 1 to 2, 2 damage. 3 to 4, weaken. 5 to 6, 2 damage, and a daze, unless we're able to kill it. So I'll get... They suggest using cubes to track health. I didn't like that when I first played this game, so I'm just going to get I'm just going to use a couple of dice to track that. Okay, I think we are all set. So now let's jump right in and see how we go. So this is the start of combat, which means I'll actually draw 7 cards because 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because that's my special ability. Okay. Right. So now we'll roll the die for... Let's see, we roll the die for what we're doing. What action they'll take during the enemy turn, and which relic abilities are going to trigger. That's a 2, which means the acid slime's just doing 2 damage, and my loaded die doesn't do anything. Okay, so... Given that the acid slime that's summoning is more dangerous, I'm going to work on that first. So... This is where the energy comes in. Since I've got 3 energy every turn, I can play 3 energy worth of cards before I'm done for the round. So I'll actually start off with a neutralize on the acid slime, which means it'll take a damage, and I'll give it a broken weapon token. So the broken weapon will reduce damage it deals by 1, and then we remove the token. Fortunately, that didn't cost me any energy, so I don't have to do anything there. Then I'm going to spend 1 energy to play out my cloak and dagger to give me a shiv and a block. The shiv tokens, as I mentioned, I can spend those for 1 damage. Let me get these shivs out. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm also going to get the poison tokens out. As one of the poison tokens goes rolling off the table. Delightful. Alright, so that gives me a shiv and a guaranteed block. I could throw the shiv at the slime right now, and that's actually moderately tempting. But instead, I'm going to use another energy for a survivor to give me 2 more block and discard a card. 2 more block and discard a card. I'm going to discard this defend. Then I'm going to spend my last energy for a strike to do another damage to the acid slime. So that'll bring it down to 3. Then we'll discard everything. Nothing at end of turn, so we discard everything. We remove any enemy block except there's none. Then we would take 2 damage because of the acid slime, but we've got enough block to cover that. So we'll reset everything for the new turn and draw back. And so we'll start our new turn. Right. Okay, so we reset back to 3 energy and no block. I'll draw my 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take out that acid slime, but let's see what happens on our roll. That is a 1, so that's going to be another 2 damage from the acid slime. And unfortunately, I'm not... Well, actually, I take that back. I can kill it here. So I'll spend 2 energy to play out 2 strikes for 2 damage. Then I'll throw my shiv at the acid slime to kill it. So now it's gone. And hold on. Somehow this ended up in the summon. Well, never mind. Wait. Some of these have got different backs on them. Hold on. Oh, I think these are the summons. Okay, never mind. So the acid slime has been defeated. I've got 1 energy left, which is just going to be playing out a block. So I'll discard everything down. Then the small slime would do 1 damage to me, but I've got the block to cover that. So now we go into a new round. Fortunately, this is another deck builder where you shuffle when you need to draw. I do like that this game comes with its own sleeves for the most part, even if for some of these cards, like all of the act cards, I'm thinking I'm going to need clear sleeves for those. I just need to figure out how many of those there are, so I make sure I've got enough sleeves. I might, assuming I get enough of the right cards, I was going to say I might try to blitz the small slime down, but I don't have enough cards to do that. So let's see what we get here. Oh, that's a 3. I'm rolling to trigger the relic, but nothing happens there. So, yeah, I think this is actually pretty simple. So we'll spend 2 energy for 2 strikes on the small slime to take it down to 1 health. And then we'll spend our last energy for a block. Then we'll discard everything. The small slime will bounce off of our block. And we'll move into a new round. Reset to 3 energy, no block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Assuming nothing crazy happens, and it doesn't. That's a 4, which actually does trigger our loaded die to give us a block. But that's not going to matter because we're going to spend our energy here. Shivs don't carry over from round to round. So we'll spend it for a strike to do 1 damage to the small slime and take that out. So we have cleared the small slime, which means we get a potion and we'll get another upgrade. So we'll get our potion first. Actually, we'll give the potion a quick shuffle. Hopefully you guys are enjoying a little Friday night Slay the Spire. I actually liked this game the first time I played it with my group, so I'm probably coming into this a little bit biased in the solo mode, but we'll see. Alright. So here's our potion. Our potion, we get liquid memories. Put a card from your discard pile into your hand. It costs 0 energy this turn. We could sell it for 3 gold. But now we need an upgrade. Well, we need our 3 gold upgrade now. So we need our upgrade. So 3 cards for that. First up, we've got an escape plan. Draw a card. If you draw a skill, 1 block. Next up is a slice. 1 damage plus 1 damage if you have a shiv. And another slice. Well, I think we're going to take a slice here. And the rest of those can go to the bottom of the deck. And we'll get rid of the small slime as our first encounter. I'll give this a quick shuffle. and then we'll determine where we want to go on our path. Either way, we're going toward an event. The only question is, where are we going next? The only question is, what route do we want to take to get there? Oop. Because we do have some options available to us right now. So I'm looking at our path. Going up to the left gives me 2 events in a row, along with several paths of multiple enemies, but also our best chance of bypassing the elites toward the right side of the board. Whereas going up the middle, I could end up fighting at least one. I could end up fighting a regular enemy and either another regular enemy or potentially an elite, which I'm not crazy with that, but that would get me to a campfire. Whereas if I go up the far right side to start with, I'm guaranteeing myself to fight an elite. So I think here I'm going to go to the left. This way I can hedge my options in case I need to bypass one of those elites. So that's what we're going to do there. Like I said, going to the right. Let me see if I can zoom in here so you can see what I'm talking about. It might make more sense if you can see the map and see what I'm looking at for a second. So looking here, that's probably not as far in as you guys want to be to see what I'm looking at, but I can at least hopefully talk you through it. So if I go up the middle, I could potentially have to fight at least one elite. But if I go all the way to the right, the way my path laid out, I'm guaranteed into fighting at least one elite. So by going to the left, I'm giving myself the option here. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I am giving myself the chance or the choice of bypassing both of these elites up here if I need to, and I'm guaranteed to bypass this one as well. Yes, the elites come with a stronger reward to them, but given that I'm a solo player, I don't want to hem myself in on dealing with a lot of elites. I might try to fight at least one going up this path, but like I said, I don't want to lock myself into an elite as a solo player. So that's why I'm going up the left side, so I can bypass that if I think I need to. Anyway, we'll zoom that back out, and we'll drop our first event since we've gone up to the left. I am guaranteeing another event up here going this way, but hopefully it's not too big a deal here. We'll give this a shuffle. And thank you guys for spending part of your Friday night with me as we try to slay the Spire. We might only get through one act. I'm looking at the clock here, and I know I do want to get some sleep tonight for an early morning workout. Plus, I'd want to make sure Mystical Munchies is ready to go for tomorrow. And incidentally, I need to build a new deck for my group's Arkham Horror the card game campaign on Sunday, before Sunday. Because my investigator took a pair of mental trauma. She came in with some mental trauma, and she's up to 5 now, so I want to swap her out. And our first event is a living wall. 3 faces materialize from the wall and speak. Forget what you know, and I'll let you go. I require change to see a new space. If you want to pass me, then you must grow. I can either forget to remove a card, change to transform a card, or grow to upgrade a card. I know what remove and upgrade are. What is transform? Let's see. Transform. I see it in there. I see it in the quick start rules, but I don't see a transform. Oh, here we go. When you transform a card from another character or a colorless deck, add the new card from the top of your character's card rewards deck. I think we're going to go ahead and upgrade a card here. So I've got my upgrades guide over to the side. Now I need to decide what card I actually want to upgrade. Let's see. What does Cloak and Dagger do when it's upgraded? 2 shivs and still the defend. And I think that's what we're going to upgrade. As Procrastinator joins us here. So we're going to upgrade Cloak and Dagger into its upgraded version. 2 shivs and 1 defend. Admittedly, I am playing this solo for my very first time, so if I miss anything, feel free to point it out in the chat. Just do me a favor and be gentle about it, please. It's probably been about a month or two since I've played this game with my game group, and admittedly, playing it solo is a different experience. So now we move up and we get another event right away. Let's see what this one translates to. The Cleric. So hello, friend. I am Cleric. Are you interested in my services? Heal. Pay a gold to heal 3 HP, which we don't need to do. Prayer. Pay 2 gold to upgrade a card. Purify. Pay 3 gold to remove a card. Or leave and nothing happens. Well, that's a pretty easy option. We're going to pay 2 gold and upgrade another card. Seems at least moderately good, I would think. So now let's see what upgrade I want. Now I'm locked into upgrading a starter card, and I think that's going to be one of my neutralizes. So we'll upgrade the neutralize, flipping it over like so. So now I've got two attack and a broken weapon. But unfortunately, the meeple is going to take us to an enemy encounter, and I'm guaranteed to have another enemy encounter no matter how I go. But I will have a campfire coming up immediately after that. So we'll give this a quick shuffle, and then we'll flip up an enemy. Let me make sure I'm at 3 energy, no block, and full HP. And since I know I've got a combat coming up, actually I've got one coming up right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Since I am playing as the Silent. So let's flip up our enemy. Our enemy this time, we have the Mad Gremlin. 2 gold and an upgrade. 1 combat. And angry whenever this enemy takes damage from an attack, strengthen. 4 health, and summon 3 random gremlins. If playing solo, summon 2 instead. So we'll get the 4 HP out for that. And I'll separate the gremlins out from the summon stack. Actually, I wonder if that's what that is for. That would make sense. Let me make sure there are no more gremlins. Whoops. Let me make sure there are no more gremlins in this stack before I go crazy shuffling those up. Nope. No more gremlins. Okay. So now that we've got that sorted out, we've got all our gremlins right here. I'll give these a quick shuffle, and then we'll randomly summon 2 of these. Yeah, I'm probably going to end up sleeving the rest of this game at some point. If for no other reason than to make shuffling everything a whole lot easier, which is one of the main reasons I like to sleeve this game. So we'll grab our 2 gremlins there, since we are playing solo. Our first gremlin that we're summoning is a fat gremlin, which affects everybody for 1 damage, 3 health on that gremlin. Admittedly, since I'm playing solo, the AoE essentially amounts to a wash. And then our other gremlin is another fat gremlin. So 4, 3, 3. Okay, so we're all set there. I've already drawn up my 7 cards. I haven't looked at them yet. Now I will, though. Okay, well, we can probably take out... Well, we might actually be able to take out that Mad Gremlin right here. And probably defend against the 2 fat gremlins, but I'm getting ahead of myself on that. We do start the turn. I've got my 7 cards, so let's roll up for our loaded die relic. That is a 5, which automatically gives me a block. So I'm feeling a little bit less worried about going aggressive. And then it gains... So that's... I just want to double check that strength. You deal +1 damage on each hit. Uh-oh. So yeah, we definitely need to take that thing out. Let's see. So let's start off for 1 energy with a cloak with our upgraded cloak and dagger, which will give me 2 shivs and 1 defend. Or 1 block. So that'll give me... I've already got my block cheated there. Technically I had none to start with. So that was 1 energy. Then I'm going to slice. Plus, it's 1 damage, plus another damage if I have a shiv, and I do. Which I'll point that at the Mad Gremlin. That will give it a strengthen token. Actually, I'm not going to bother giving it the strengthen token, because I'm going to throw the 2 shivs at the Mad Gremlin and just take it out. That way, it's not even a problem and I'm done with it. Then, I'm going to play a Survivor for 1 energy, which will give me 2 block, but I have to discard a card. That way I don't take any damage from either of those fat gremlins, which it'll be a defend I bin. And then my last one, I'm going to start on this fat gremlin for a damage. So we discard everything at the end of turn. Enemies don't have any block, so they're just doing 2 damage, but I've got enough block to soak everything up. So nothing happens there. And we go back into a new round. I reset to 3 energy and no block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should be able to wipe out one of those fat gremlins this turn. Yeah. We can probably wipe one out and render the other pointless, but let's see what we get on our roll. That's a 5, so I have another guaranteed block going into the round. Let's see, I'll spend 2 energy, actually no energy, for a neutralize. So let's... Unfortunately, I can't take them both out as much as I wish I could. So I'm going to hit this fat gremlin for 2, bringing it down to 1, and giving it a broken weapon token, so it does 1 less damage. Then 2 energy for 2 more strikes to take out the other fat gremlin. And honestly, any of these blocks are just going to go to waste. So, yeah, because why not, I'll play out another defend, even though... Actually, I could theoretically take out the... I don't really want to use the liquid memories, though, here, so I'm not going to. Everything will move to the discard pile. The fat gremlin just tries to hit me with its hammer, but I laugh it off. And then we go into start of round, and yep, I can definitely take out that fat gremlin right this turn. Not that it really doesn't matter what I draw, because I already saw I've got an attack in my hand. I've got a strike in my hand. So we'll roll for the relic. That's a 5, so I've got a guaranteed block. We reset to 3 energy, 1 of which I'll spend. Actually, I won't. Yeah, we'll just do this the easy way. We'll just strike that fat gremlin and knock him down. So the gremlin is defeated. We've actually cleared the encounter, which means for the reward from the Mad Gremlin, I get the 2 gold back that I spent to upgrade one of my cards earlier, probably about 2 minutes ago. And we get to add another card to the deck. That's what that is. Yes, we get to add another card to our deck. So that can go to the bottom of the deck, and I will get my next 3 cards available for adding to the deck. Actually, I'm going to bring my black dice closer that I'm using to track everything. First card up is a Masterful Stab. Costs 2 if I lost HP this combat for 2 damage. Next up is a Blur. +2 block, +1 block if I discarded a card this turn. And Infinite Blades. Ooh, start of turn, give me a Shiv. I think we're going to take the Infinite Blades here. A guaranteed Shiv seems to be very powerful. We'll shuffle that in. While I'm shuffling that in, we'll look at our options here. So I'm guaranteed an enemy and a campfire, and a treasure, judging by the path I've got set up here. The question is, where do I think I want to go? Do I think I want to bypass this elite right here, or do I want to go after it? I've got a campfire either way, or I've got a campfire either way I go here. Before I get to that elite, if I want to go for it. So I think we're going to go in this direction and go that way and that way we've got the option of going after the elite. Actually, we've got a couple of ways we can go to get to elites. Just finishing up shuffling up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just out of curiosity, Procrastinator, have you played the video game for this before? I admittedly never have, so I'm kind of coming in without that experience. Anyway, our enemy that we're fighting here is an Acid Slime. Uh-oh. 5 damage, or 5 health. 1 to 2, it's doing 2 damage. 3 to 4, it gives me a Neutralize. 5 to 6, it gives me 2 damage and a Daze, which a Daze just clogs up my deck. So we'll get the 5 health out for that. And then let's see what it's doing this round. Well, actually, yeah, we've got our hand all drawn up. Okay. Unfortunately, I'd rather have the slice when the Shiv comes. I'd rather have the slice when I get Infinite Blades active, but Infinite Blades is probably going to be the first thing I play. Let's see what triggers here, though. Let's see, that's a 3, so we're just going to end up with a broken weapon. Or with a Neutralize. So actually, what we're going to do here is we're going to hit it with a Neutralize for 2 damage and a broken and a Neutralize. So it does -1 damage. I'll get one ready for us coming as well. I was actually at 3 energy to start with. Then for 1 energy, I will go ahead and play out my Infinite Blades, which gives me a Shiv at the start of my turn. I, of course, don't get it now, because I didn't have it out at the start of the turn. No energy to give me a slice to hit the... Actually, is there a way I can get a Shiv before I play that? The answer is, of course I can't. You have played both. The video game is very similar. So playing the board game probably means I'm probably playing this means I can likely skip the video game then. I'll file that. Well, you'll probably tell me if I'm wrong on that. But anyway, we'll slice the Acid Slime for another damage. Actually, I think we do just take the Acid Slime out right here. Because we had 2 attacks, yeah, we actually do just take the Acid Slime out here. Hold on. Oh, wait. Hold up. I went to the wrong thing. Hang on. I was celebrating too much before I realized it was the wrong icon. Let's go to this deck and see what we get. we get a red louse. 1 gold and 4 damage. It summons green and red as well. Somebody decided to be a herpaderp tonight. That somebody was me. 4 health, 1 to 2 it gets a strengthen, 3 to 6 it deals 2 damage, and the first time Louse takes damage it gets 2 defense. Okay, let's get the green and the red louse out. Excuse me. Okay, they each have 3 damage. Green louse on a 1 to 2 have 3 health. Green louse 1 to 2 deals a damage. 3 to 4 breaks the weapon. 5 to 6 2 damage. And the first time it takes damage it gets +2. It gets 2 defend. Then for the red louse, same curl up. 1 to 2 2 damage. 3 to 4 1 damage. 5 to 6 strengthen. Somebody was celebrating way too early. Once again, that somebody was me. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I like this hand a lot less. But there's nothing I can do now. Right. Let's see how this goes. A 1. So the red louse is going to strengthen. So the main red louse is going to strengthen. The green's going to do 1 damage. Red louse is doing 2. So I'm taking a total of 3 damage here. That's gross. Well, I can actually stop that. Because I will start off by playing a defender for 2 defend, and I'll discard one of my boatload of defends, because having that much defend on my first turn is very disgusting. So 2 defend. I'll play out a slice I'll play out a slice and hit the main red louse with that. So 1 damage, but it will gain 2 block. Then I'll pay 1 energy. I'll pay my last energy for another defend, so I've got 3 block. Then we discard everything and go through attacks. So this red louse is going to strengthen, which means it'll deal +1 damage per hit. And then the other 2 louses would deal 3 damage, but I've got enough block to cover all of that. Okay, so this red louse's block goes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Even if it's mostly attack this time. Actually, I'm going to put the tokens up here. Roll there is a 1, so yikes. This one could hurt a lot more. Well, I think in this case, we're going to start off by spending our 3 energy. First up, we'll spend 1 on a cloak and dagger, which will give me 2 shivs and a block. Not that I'm going to be getting a lot of block this turn. Then we're going to strike this louse for 1. It'll get 2 block. And then we'll hit this louse for 1. It'll also get 2 block. Unfortunately, I was out of energy, so now we resolve their actions. This red louse is strengthening. We need to kill him pronto. Preferably in 1 shot if we can. And then we're going to take 3 damage from these 2. Actually, we're going to block the green louse's attack, and then we're going to take 2 damage from the summoned red louse. That'll bring me down to 7. Alright, then all the block goes away. We need to kill this red louse before it does damage, because those strengthened tokens are going to hurt. Unfortunately, we will be able to take him out. I just got to look at my hand. So yeah, we definitely need to kill that red louse that's strengthened twice right here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, we'll roll the dice to see what abilities are triggering. 4, which means we do get a block. This red louse is going to be doing 2. I gotta check if those strengthened tokens do 1 damage on each attack, or if those just do +1 damage and then you remove 1, or if it's +1 for each. Because if it's +1 for each strengthened token, so yeah. This louse right here needs to die right now. This one's going to break my weapon. This one's going to do 1 damage. I might be able to kill these two. Let's see. But I think our first order of business is going to be playing out an Infinite Blades, which will give me a shiv at the start of my turn. Then, for no energy, I'm going to play out a Neutralize on this red louse, which is 2 damage, but the more important, which is 2 damage and the breaking of the weapon, but the 2 damage is the more important part, so that red louse is just defeated. That's what I needed there. I needed to take him out in 1 shot, and I sent one of my strengthened tokens flying. Or falling, I should say. Let's see, then as far as my other 2 louses go, he's going to break. He's going to do 1 damage. We can deal with the 1. Actually, we'll block the 1 damage outright. So I think we'll spend 1 energy to strike this green louse for 1. It'll get 2 block. Then we'll spend our other energy to strike this red louse for 1. It'll get another 2 block. It'll get 2 block as well. For the next 1 damage. Yep, okay. Alright. So we discard everything, and then the start of the enemy turn triggers. So he'll deal us a Neutralize, which will reduce our damage by 1. Which we could very easily spend a shiv just to get rid of that. And then this red louse will do 1 damage, but that'll run into our block. Enemy block goes away. We'll draw back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are at start of turn, so that will give me another shiv. Then we'll roll for the relic and the enemy attack actions. That's a 6, which would trigger a die relic ability, but nothing happening there. This louse is going to do 2 damage. This one's going to strengthen. So I think our first order of business is we're going to throw a shiv at one of them to get rid of the Neutralize. The question is, can we kill through one of them taking a damage? And I think the answer to that is yes. So we'll spend an energy for a Cloak and Dagger, which will give me a block, but more importantly, 2 shivs. Then I'm going to shiv this green louse down. Then we'll throw a shiv at this red louse, which will bring it down to 1, but it'll get 2 block. Then I'll throw my other 2 shivs at it to clear the block. And then I'll spend my energy to strike it down and knock it out. Which means that red louse is defeated. So from the reward on the main red louse, we get another gold, and we get to add another card to the deck. Actually, I'm going to leave one of these singles to pull a 5, to get a 5 out. And then we'll add another card to the deck. One, two, 3. Alright, first card up is Riddle with Holes. Oh my. 2 energy, but that gives me 4 shivs. Next up is Terror, which that's a new icon on me. Actually, it's probably explained up here. Double damage on each attack and on each damage in the next attack, then remove a Heartbreak token. but it's an exhaust. And Sneaky Strike. 3 combat, and if you discarded a card this turn, gain 2 energy. Ooh. Well, I'm not sure I like Terror, especially since we'd be doubling onesie twosie damage right now. So the question now is, do I want the Riddle with Holes, or do I want the Sneaky Strike? And, I think, actually, the Liquid Memories would be good to synergize with Sneaky Strike and get that back, especially if I end up discarding a card for a defend early, because I know one of my starter cards gives me 2 defend, but I have to discard a card to get it. Survivor. So I think I'll take the Sneaky Strike to synergize with that. So we'll shuffle the deck up. We're not going into combat yet because we do have a campfire coming up, but I will get ready for the next combat. I'll also discard that to the bottom of the encounter deck. But no, I'm actually enjoying this game a lot. It actually seems like it flows very well, especially since I've got everything I need right here with my quick reference. I think we're definitely going to see more of this on the channel, but the one thing is, it's not really great weeknight content, especially if I want to try to go through multiple acts. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because the thing is, and part of it might have been the intro and I was finishing up setup on camera, but it's taking me almost an hour and I'm not quite halfway through yet, but I'm gonna have a few quicker things here, because I'll have the campfire, which I will use that to heal myself back up to full. Upgrading cards tempting here, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. And now I've got to decide, I've got a treasure coming up. The question is, do I want to lock myself into fighting an elite? If I go here, I would do that. If I go here, I still nominally have the option for going in for an event, but I probably would go for the elite in this case. And I think we are going to go for the treasure. So now we get to draw from the treasure deck. And we'll see what we get here. We'll give this a quick shuffle. Yes, indeed. We are getting treasure here. Anthony Baloney's VODs, how's it going tonight? I probably just butchered your pronunciation, the pronunciation of your name. My apologies on that. Okay. We'll take that as our treasure once I set this deck down. And let's see what we've got here. We find Dolly's Mirror. Ooh. On a 1, trigger a die relic ability. Its owner gains the effect, and we can sell that for 7 gold. Yeah, I'm not really sure how much I like that. But I think we are set at a point now where we could very easily go for the elite, and I think we will. So let's see what we find for an elite here. We've got 3 of them in Act 1. So this is our elite. We are facing Sentries. Oh, fantastic. Summon AB, etc. until there are 3 enemies per player. We get 2 gold, a treasure, and add a card. 7 HP for this sentry. We need to go get 3 more sentries. Let's see, here we go. A, B. And we've got another A coming out. Yep, okay. Yikes. And unfortunately, I need a bigger level of dice than my D6s that I've been using, so I know where I can find some bulk dice. I've actually got my colored dice tray right here. Let's see, what did I need? 4 D8s. Let's see, that one shouldn't be too hard to read, so we'll get a 7, 7, 8, and 7. Okay, let's take a look at my hand. And of course I draw my big card, but not the card it synergizes with. Let's see what we get here for only 3 sentries needed total per row. I've only got the 1 row, and it was saying summon sentry. Oh, summon sentry. So I didn't need the 3rd A. Is that what you're telling me? I'd better confirm that, since that's kind of important to this combat. Because it's telling me until there's 3 enemies per player. So yeah, it looks like I don't need the extra sentry A. But I'm going to hold tight on that while I figure out what my turn's going to look like. But even without the 4th sentry, that's going to be a huge problem. Yeah, I'm just going to go with my instinct that's telling me I don't need the 2nd sentry A. So I just need the sentries and then A and B, since that gives me 3 enemies for the row. Since I only have the 1 row, which means that can go back in. Actually, I could have gone back in anyway. Yeah, I think the plan here is going to have to be to try to... Well, let's see what we get for a relic ability anyway. Let's see, that's a 4. Uh-oh. So 4 does give me a block, which is moderately helpful. But a 4 also means I'm taking 2 dazes and 3 damage, actually 2 damage from Sentry A. So let's go with, starting off with 2 energy, we'll sneaky strike the main sentries for 3 damage, which will bring them down to 4. Then we'll spend our last energy for another strike on it to bring it down to 3. And then enemies trigger, so because of the 4, we take 2 dazes from the sentries and Sentry A, which these are just going to clog up my deck. And then Sentry A, with the 4, is going to deal me 3 damage, 1 of which runs into my block, but I still take 2. Then we draw back up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, where was that Survivor card last turn? Of course, it decided to go AWOL on me. Yowza. That's another 4. So we're going to end up... So basically, we're going to have a repeat of last turn. But this time, I think we'll be a little bit more ready for it. So we'll start off with a Survivor to give me 2 block, and I have to discard a card, which will be another Defend. Then we'll spend an energy for a Cloak and Dagger, which will give me 2 shivs and another block, so I can at least block all of the damage. But I can't block the daze. I can't block the daze that's coming from... Actually, I can't block either of the dazes. I can block all the damage from Sentry A, though. Actually, I'm going to take out the sentries right here. So I'll spend my 2 shivs to hit the sentries for 2 to bring them down to 1. Then I'll spend my last energy to strike it, which will actually take out the main sentries. This way, I'm at least only taking 1 daze over the 2. So another 3 damage, which we might actually bite the dust here, and then another daze. Yuck. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're resetting everything back up. We're resetting back. I'm wondering if I might just need I might need at least a second character on here. I did want to try this true solo first, so I wasn't pushing so many pieces around at one time. Assuming we survive this, that campfire is going to be healing. And, okay. Let's see what we trigger for a relic ability here. That's a 4 again, which gives me a guaranteed block, 3 damage from this from Sentry A, and another daze from Sentry B. Gross. Oh, well. I think here we'll spend 1 to start off with a... We'll spend 1 to start off with an Infinite Blades. Then we're going to use... Actually, we're going to use a couple of attacks here. Which one's doing me 3 damage? Sentry A. So we'll hit that with a Slice and a Neutralize Plus. So that'll be 3 damage on that and a Broken Weapon. And then 2 defends. Which will bring me up to... Oh, I should be at 2 block. Never mind. Okay. So all of that's sorted out. Then Sentry A is dealing me no damage between the Broken Blade and the block that it ran into. Sentry B is giving me another daze. Wait, that's the wrong thing that I've been taking. So this should be on top of my draw pile. I took the wrong things, it looks like. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, I should have... So my deck should be more of a disaster than it is now. So actually that should be... We'll take another daze for the turn since that's what should be in my deck. Let's see. Well, we can take out the... I think we... Actually, let's roll this first. We are definitely in a world of trouble. We do get a Shiv at the start of turn. Let's see, a 3 means that's giving me a daze. This is dealing me 3 damage. Yikes. Okay, so I think here we go 2 energy for a sneaky strike on... Actually, yeah, we put it on Sentry... Do we put it on Sentry A? Yeah, I think we might as well put it on Sentry A to bring it down to 1. Then we'll shiv it out of existence. That goes back to that pile, which leaves me Sentry B to deal with. Then I'm going to spend my last energy for a defend. So that shiv should be gone. And Ethereal, I believe, goes back to whatever supply it came from, right? Return to the Daze deck when exhausted. Okay, so yeah, it looks like... I'm just going to double check that, but... puts card in there on top of their deck. I'm trying to figure out... Let's see, discard... So, energy to play cards. Do those probably stay in my discard pile, I think. That's what I'm trying to figure out here. It exhausts. So Ethereal. If it's in your hand, exhausted. Okay, so yeah, it does go back to the... Goes back to the Daze deck. Then a 3. So the Sentry B is doing 2 damage because I had a block. I need to make sure to kill, I need to try to defend against its attacks a little bit better. So we do get the Shiv at the start of the turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that should be another daze as well. And we're rolling for the relic effect. 1. Okay, this thing's going to defeat me if I can't defend this turn, and I can. So 1 energy is going to be a survivor, which gives me 2 block, but I have to discard a card. Unfortunately, I can't discard the daze voluntarily, so I'll have to discard a strike. Then I'll use another one to defend. That way I'm not taking any damage. And my last energy will be to strike the Sentry B for 1 to bring it down to 7. Then that goes back to the daze deck. And because I've got 3 block and he's trying to do 3 damage, I block all of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that once again should be a daze. And we're rolling again. So 3 energy. Start of turn, I get a Shiv. That's a 6, so we're taking another daze this turn. Which is fortunate because now I can focus on starting to deal damage. Actually, I don't think I just kill it. Do I? No. I will come close, though. So I'll start off for 1 energy with an upgraded Cloak and Dagger, which will give me 2 more Shivs and a block. Then we're going to spend 2 energy to strike it twice. So that'll bring it down to 5. And then I could just Shiv it out of existence. Well, actually, I'm not just able to Shiv it out of existence. I'll keep the daze close because I am taking that. That goes to the top of my deck. And we'll reset everything. 1, assuming I draw 1 attack assuming I draw 1 damage worth of an attack, I will take this thing out. Two, 3, 4. And perfect. Okay. So now we roll for the relic. And their action. A 6 is another daze, but that's not going to matter here because we are going to blast this thing to Kingdom Come. So we start off by getting another Shiv. I'll start off with a Slice for 2 damage. Then I'll throw 3 Shivs at it. Just to flip it the bird and be done with it. So that is finally defeated, which means we get 2 gold, another treasure, and we get to add a card. So I'll put the Shivs aside, we get 2 more gold. We get another treasure, which I will come over here for that. So the treasure we get is a bird-faced urn. When I play a power, gain a defend. Ooh, that actually has a lot more potential to be useful. And that goes back to the daze deck. And our last reward is a new card. So first up, we've got a dodge and roll. 1 defend, and each defend can go to any player, except that's essentially 2 defend to me. Predator, 3 damage. Any player draws 2 cards, but it costs 2 energy. And Crippling Cloud, AoE damage, poison, and break a weapon, but it exhausts. I think I want the dodge and roll. I think I want more defense options here, since I seem to be taking. Well, I took a lot of damage in that encounter, so maybe it's not the best choice in the world here. Going up to the campfire, no bonus points for what I'm guessing after I got hammered there. Now I have a decision to make, though. I could go for either another regular enemy or an event. The thing I don't like about going for the regular enemy first is, well, if I go for the enemy first, then I'm guaranteed a merchant. But if I don't... But if I go for the enemy first, I skip another potential chance to heal or do something to strengthen my deck. I do have another campfire coming up before the boss, but I'm getting at least a little bit ahead of myself on that front. So now I've got to decide if I want the... Now I've got to decide if I want the merchant or if I want the extra chance to heal. We did just add a bit more defense between getting the bird-faced urn and the dodge and roll. So I think here we will... Let's go... Feel free to weigh in chat, by the way, as well, if you guys have a thought here, because I could honestly see going either way. I wouldn't mind the merchant because I've got 13 gold to spend, but an event for an extra chance to heal is also not a completely terrible idea, especially since it'll give me a little bit of time to try to... Especially since the event's got a chance to be either healing or something else good. What to do. At least I don't have any more elites I'm going to have to deal with. But, We do have another guaranteed campfire, but I'm also at 5 HP coming into this next encounter. So this could potentially be a decision of, do I make it to the boss, or do I bite the dust before I get there? Merchant would be your vote, which means I'm fighting a regular encounter now, which... It would also potentially give me a chance, I think... Let me just look at something on the back here. Pay 3 gold to remove a card. So yeah, I could definitely purge a card. Does the merchant let me sell items? Because if the merchant lets me sell items... then that Dali's Mirror is... The technical term for that is El Hot Garbaggio, or maybe it's El Garbaggio Hot in Spanish. Or if you want the feminine term, it would be La Garbagia Hot or La Hot Garbagia. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out if the merchant lets me sell cards. Let's sell my treasures, but it does not look like it does. That's the big problem I've got with the Dali's Mirror. That thing is garbage until I get another relic. So I think here... Actually, maybe there's something in the anatomy of the cards that'll give me a clue. Oh, it's the cost to purchase the item. So I can't even sell that, but still. Yeah, I think we're going to go with the merchant here, because we're going to go the merchant route, because I do want to have a chance to at least do something with all of this gold I've been stockpiling. So our next encounter is a small slime. 1 gold and add another card, 3 health, but it brings an acid slime and a spike slime with it. So we'll go into the summon deck. There's a spike slime, and we've got an acid slime. That can go to the side for the time being. We'll take a look at the acid slime. It's got 5 health, 1 to 2, 2 damage, and a daze, which reminds me, let me get all those poison and fire cards out of my deck. 3, 4 for 2 damage, 5 to 6 neutralize. Let me make sure I got all of that crap out of here. I did. Okay. Then the spike slime, 1 to 2, 1 damage, heartbreak, and acts last. 1 damage and a daze, 5 to 6, 2 damage. 3, 5, and 5. Okay, let's give this a quick shuffle. I'm kind of thinking here that when we get to, we're likely going to be busy when we get to the merchant. Like I said, I've got 13 gold to spend. I should have 14 by the time we get there. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Okay. Let's see what we draw for our starting hand. Okay, I think we can probably work with this. But let's see what we get for abilities first. A 5. Okay, so that's breaking our weapon. This is doing 2 damage. I can make an argument for taking either the acid slime or the spike slime out first. I think I err toward dealing with the spike slime first, though. Because as low health as I'm at, I want to try to get up to the campfire and be able to get as close to full HP as possible before I deal with the boss. So I think to do that, we're going to start off with 1 energy for a cloak and dagger. That'll give me 2 shivs and a block. Then we're going to go for a slice, and we'll do 2 damage. We'll do 1 combat, or 1 damage plus 1 if I have a shiv and I've got 2. So I'll point those 2 damage at the spike slime. Then we're going to spend another energy for... Actually, do I need the... I might not need the block here. I think I'm going to kill the spike slime right here. Yeah, we'll start off with a strike. We'll point it at the spike slime for another 1. Then I'll throw my 2 shivs at it to just take it outright. Then we'll just strike. We'll start on the acid slime next. That'll be 4 damage. Or that'll be 1 damage down to 4. Oh yes, 5 also does trigger my loaded die, so I do have a guaranteed block. Thanks for reminding me of that. So I do have the loaded die that I'm playing with here as well. So yes, I did forget about that. I'm so focused on the Dolly's Mirror being El Hot Garbaggio here because I don't have another die relic to trigger with that. Actually, the loaded die I don't have a relic to trigger with a 6 on a loaded die either. Anyway, all of that's done. Small slime runs into my 2 block and doesn't do anything. The acid slime, though, does give me a neutralized token. Okay. We reset to 3 energy, no block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I think we can work around this. So let's see what we trigger here. That's a very cocked die. We'll roll that again. There we go. That's a 4. So that'll give me a 1 block on my loaded die and 2 damage on the from the acid slime. So let's see if we can kill that here. We're going to start off with a survivor. That'll give me 2 block, and I have to discard a card from my hand, so I'll discard an extra defend. Then I will spend 2 energy for a sneaky strike, which will do 3 damage. Then if I discarded a card this turn, which I did to my survivor, I gain 2 energy. So I'll deal 3 damage to the acid slime to bring it down to 1 and give me 2 energy back. 1 of which I'll spend on an infinite blades. Actually, that should only do 2 damage because of the broken weapon. Then I'll spend my last energy on an extra defend I don't really need. So I've got way more than enough block to block all, so I've got enough block to block all of the damage, which means my block goes down to 1 and I still have an extra block left over. So back to start of turn, I get a shiv. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we should be able to end this encounter right here. Let's see what we trigger. That's a 6. which means he's breaking my weapon, and the loaded die triggers a die relic ability, but I don't have anything else there to trigger. But yeah, I think we just take this out. So I took my Shiv for the start of turn on Infinite Blades. Then we will neutralize the small slime, not that that's going to matter here in the grand scheme of things. 2 damage and a broken weapon. Then I'm going to Shiv the small slime out of existence. And then the acid slime, I'm going to spend 2 energy to strike it out of existence. Which means the acid slime is defeated. The main reward... Loaded die could trigger Dali's mirror. Well, theoretically it could, but basically they're just... There's nothing else to trigger with either of those relics, so nothing to do there. Anyway, the small slime gives me a gold and another added card. So that brings me up to 14 gold. And 3 more cards. First up, Skewer. Deal 1 damage X plus 1 times, depending on how much energy I spend. Dagger Spray. 1 damage to everything. Or Dagger Throw. 2 damage, draw a card, discard a card. Well, this is a choice. This is one of those that you could really make a case for any of them. I think here, though... I'm going to take... I'm going to take a Dagger Throw here. Because that's a guaranteed 1 energy for 2 damage, which is actually pretty good. So we'll give the deck a quick shuffle up. I'm sure a procrastinator, though, you'll at least agree that, by itself, Dali's Mirror, the technical term for that is El Hot Garbaggio. Anywho, we'll give this a quick shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm getting ready for the next combat that's inevitably coming. I'm actually going to plug my phone into my charger as well, since I'm right here. Okay. And it looks like one of my Amazon orders just shipped out, due to arrive on Wednesday. Let's see, so we move up to the Merchant, which means we flip this board over. We'll get out 3 treasures and 3 potions. I also need to do a little bit of card setup here. For future plays, I wonder if putting the smaller cards over here might be a better option, especially if I keep the Merchant board over on this side of the board. But hopefully you guys are enjoying watching me fumble through Slay the Spire here tonight. I'm sure it's at least mildly entertaining to watch me cuss and swear with this tonight. One, 2, and I think we only use that with 3 players, 3+ players. Let's see if there's anything that explains Merchant setup. That's either sensitive to player count or higher acts. But I'm trying to figure out... Oh, it can trigger, on a 6, it can trigger its own 4 to 5 ability, so never mind. Let's see, place 3 relics and 3 potions. So we do place 3 anyway. Then I need the potions as well. Okay. 1, 2, 3. We've got quite a bit to reveal here. I'm also just going to get all of these rearranged back. Okay, let's start off by revealing our treasures. This one's 1 less at the merchant, so what we find here is a whetstone for 7. Upgrade a starter strike card and another attack, then discard this item. This card can't be used in combat. Next treasure up is a tungsten rod for 8. On a 5, 1 block to all players, 3 instead of solo. That could be useful. Then our last treasure that we can buy is Charon's Ashes for 7. 1 to 2, you can exhaust a card in your hand to deal 2 damage. Then for our potions... We've got a block potion that costs 2 gold, 2 block to any player. Then, skill potion for 2. The next skill you play this turn is played twice. And, vulnerable potion for 2. Gives a heartbreak, which gives a double damage. Then we reveal 3 card rewards. Grays cost 2, blues cost 3, golds cost 6. First up, we've got a leg sweep. That's a blue. It'll cost me 3 gold. Neutralize and 3 block. Then, finisher. Ooh. 1 energy. Deal 1 damage for each other attack you played this turn, including shivs. Oh, that could stack up like crazy. That's another 3, though. And, poison stab. This is a gray, so it would cost me 2. 1 damage and a poison and exhaust. Well, probably shouldn't have shuffled this up right away. Upgrade a starter strike and another attack, then discard this item. Well, that actually seems way too good to pass up. What do I have in here for attacks? Strikes. What does Slice do when I upgrade it? Slice. Let's see. Slice is a gray. It's base 2 damage, plus 1 if I have a shiv. Dagger throw. That upgrades to... Dagger throw is 3 damage, draw a card, then discard a card. Sneaky strike is 4 damage, and if I discarded a card, gain 2 energy. Okay, well... And neutralize already got upgraded. Well... I think I will spend at least 3 gold so I can remove a card. So we'll at least do that. I'm going to remove a defend from my deck. Let's see, then I've got 11 left to spend. That whetstone is way too good to pass up, so that's going to cost me 6, which I will spend that to get the whetstone, so that'll let me upgrade a starter strike and another attack, then discard. So a regular strike is going to get upgraded to 2 damage. Then I'm going to upgrade my sneaky strike. And then that gets discarded. Let's see, do I want any of these cards? Yes, I do, actually. At the very least, I want this finisher. Actually, I wonder, maybe I want to do this in a different sequence. Yes, I do want to do this in a different sequence, actually. So I'm going to pretend that I bought the finisher first. And I'm going to upgrade that instead. For 2 damage for each other attack I played this turn, including shivs. So we'll do that. Then I'm going to go... So let's see, that was... So I should be at 2 gold right now. Odds are I'm going to clean myself out, though, for one of these potions. I think we're going to go with... Yeah, I think we're going to go with the skill potion for 2 gold. So any skill I play is played twice. Then the rest of these can move to the discard pile, or to the bottom of the deck, I should say. These can go back to the bottom of my reward deck. That flips back over. That way, Phoenix. Then we go up to our campfire, where we'll heal for 3 HP, going up to 8, and now we've got a boss to fight. So now the boss we're fighting is the Guardian. We need 4 health for that. Or we need 40 health, so I'm going to grab a dial for that. Hopefully he's not going to ruin my day too much. He didn't come with any friends, did he? No. So we'll get our dial for 40 health on that. Let's see, I need 2 cubes, I think. That's 3 gold. That'll be 3 gold, a relic. Actually, that's 3 gold, one of the relics, and actually one of the rare relics, I think. What are those cards called? This is going to bug me until I actually bother to look it up. Boss relics is what those are. So reveal 1 boss relic per player plus 1. Reveal 3 if playing solo. Okay, and a rare upgrade card, and a rare card coming into the deck. Okay, so now we've got our first boss battle, and we've got the 2 dials for that. So it's almost reminding me of Yu-Gi-Oh! In a way. If it's in attack mode, it's AoE 2 damage, 5 defend per player, mode shift dealing 6 damage. If the Guardian starts its turn with no block, it doesn't attack this turn and enters defensive mode at the start of the next round. 2 block and 4 damage and strengthen in defensive mode, enters attack mode at the start of the next round. While it's in defensive mode, after you play an attack, take 1 damage. Reminder, damage can be blocked. Okay, well, this could be mildly problematic. So we definitely need to remember the bird-faced urn here. Now we'll give this a shuffle, and hopefully we're not going to get domed too hard by this boss. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? Yep. Okay, I'm just going to check something on the on how the boss battle works. Let's see, enemy action types. Put a cube in the top slot. When it reaches the bottom of the track, move the cube to the topmost red slot. Okay, so it looks like it needs 2 cubes, one for attack mode, one for defensive mode. Okay, so if the Guardian starts its turn with no block, it doesn't attack this turn, it enters defensive mode. So wouldn't it always start the... So when does it actually act? Looks like it acts during the... Okay, so this could be a little bit confusing, but we'll see how this goes. Enemy lose all of their leftover block tokens. Okay. Right. Looking at my hand here. Okay, this is not completely good, but we'll see what we do here. Okay, so it looks like it's going to start its turn with no block, which means it'll automatically enter defensive mode at the start of the first round, or at the start of this first turn coming up. So ideally, I should try to get some damage in on it as fast as I can. Well, I do also want to make sure I can block pretty well, but let's see what we trigger for our first boss round. That's a 4, which triggers the loaded die for 1 guaranteed block, and nothing else there. Okay, so let's start off with 1 energy with a dagger throw, so 2 damage on the boss, bringing it down to 38. Then we'll draw a card and discard a card. Then we'll spend an energy for an upgraded strike to do 2 damage to bring the Guardian down to 36. And then we will spend our last energy to defend for 1. Then the Guardian. Then the Guardian actually looks like it does start its turn, so it doesn't attack and enters defensive mode at the start of the next round. So it looks like it's not attacking, so it'll enter defensive mode. So we discard everything there. Then we'll draw back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right. Then we'll roll for our relic. That's a 1, which actually would trigger Dolly's mirror, and apparently that actually triggers loaded die, so we get a block from that. Who knew? Let's see. We will start off for 1 energy with a survivor to gain 2 block and discard a card. So we will discard a defend. Then we're going to pay no energy and play a neutralize. So that will deal 2 damage. We'll also have to take 1 back since we played an attack. So the boss is down to 34, but that damage hits our block. Then we'll pay 2 for a sneaky strike to deal 3 more damage, bringing the boss down to 31. It will deal another 1 damage back, but that'll hit our block. And since we discarded a card to Survivor earlier, we gain 2 energy back. Then we'll spend 1 energy to play a finisher out to deal 2 damage for each other attack I played this turn, including Shiv. So that'll be another 4 damage, bringing it down to 27. we take another damage back, which actually hits our last block point. Then we discard everything, and the boss hits us for 2 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that moves down. Okay, let's see what we trigger here. That is a 3, so nothing triggers. Okay, so we go up to 3 block. But we are taking 4 damage, and we're dealing with a strengthen here. So we will start off with a... So we'll start off with a dodge and roll, which will give me 2 block. Then I'm going to spend 1 energy to play out an infinite blades. Then I'll spend my last energy to play out cloak and dagger, which will give me 2 shivs. And then my last energy, and then my last card is going to be 1 damage plus another 1 if I have a shiv, and I do have 2. So that'll be another 2 damage on the boss, bringing it down to 25. And I take 1 damage back, which runs into the block. Then that gets discarded as well. So I block 1 from the boss, and then take 3 damage, going down to 3. Plus the boss gets a strengthen. So we need to be very mindful of that on our next round, which is coming up right here. So we'll give this a shuffle. Actually, start of round, we gain a shiv, which fortunately for purposes of the Guardian's ability, the shivs don't count as an attack. Okay. Hopefully we can put some serious damage on the boss here. Unfortunately, it is still in defense mode. Actually, no. It'll be in attack mode at the start of the next round. So it's actually in attack mode now. You got to get going. Good luck with the boss. You very much enjoyed this stream. Thank you for the kind words, Procrastinator. Hopefully you'll hit the subscribe button on your way out and see all of the great content coming on the channel, not just Slay the Spire this evening. 3, 4, 5. But welcome in, hopefully, and glad to hear you enjoyed everything. This is not a great hand in the world, but let's see what we can do here. We need to focus on survivability right now. The boss is in attack mode this turn. That's a 4, which will trigger our loaded die. Let's see. So we will start off our energy with a dodge and roll, so that'll give me 2 more block. I will go with a 1 for a cloak and dagger, which will max out my shivs and give me another block. Then we will slice the boss for another 2 to go down to bring it down to 23. Then we're going to spend our last energy to defend for another block. Everything gets discarded. So we take 2 damage, which bounces off of our block, and it has 5 block. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's not totally garbage, it's just mostly garbage. We do have a mode shift to deal with, though, so unless we can defend, we need to defend at least 3 damage, which we thankfully can do here. Alright, that's a 1. Actually, that only does that on Oh, I actually did this whole boss completely wrong. So during the mode shift is when that should have happened. So 1 does trigger Dolly's mirror, which triggers the loaded die. And right. Actually, I need to be able to defend at least. Actually, I can defend all of that. So I'll start off with 1 energy for a survivor, which will give me 2 more block, and discard a card, which will be a strike. Then I'm going to pay another energy to defend. Oh, I should have gained a blade at the shiv at the start of the turn. And with the... I can deal shiv damage immediately, so I'll deal 1 shiv damage to bring it down to... bring the boss down to 4 defend, or 4 block. 3, 4. I'm not happy that I've got my finisher in hand right now, because I wanted to save that for another final ferocious assault on the boss. Actually, I could knock it out here. I could knock it down into defensive mode, which I think I will do that. So we'll spend all 5 shivs to blast that, and then 1 will get through for 1 damage, which will bring it down, which will bring the boss down to 21, or 22, I should say. Then for our last point, we'll finisher it to deal 2 damage for each other attack I played this turn, including shivs. I played all 5 of my shivs, which means I do another 5 damage, or do another 10 damage, bringing the boss down to 12. Okay, and then I discard everything, and now the boss shifts into defensive mode since it started its turn with no attack, so it's in defensive mode here. Then it shifts back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start of turn, I get a shiv, and then we're rolling to see if we can trigger a relic. A 6 will trigger a die relic ability, which will trigger the Dolly's mirror. That'll trigger the loaded die to give me a block. Let's see here. Let's start off with a... We'll spend 1 energy for a dagger throw to hit the boss down to 10. That will run into our block. Then we'll draw a card and discard a card. Then we'll spend 2 energy for a sneaky strike to deal 3 damage. Unfortunately, we will take 1 back. That'll bring the boss down to 7, which will take 1 back. If we discarded a card, which we did, we'll gain 2 energy. And then I'm going to spend my last 2 energy to play 2 defends, which will give me 2 blocks. Then we're going to play a neutralize for no energy, which will deal 2 more damage to bring the boss down to 5. And then that will actually run right into our block, and I think this just kills us. Actually, no, because I don't think it would, because the strengthen and the neutralize would just cancel each other. Yeah, it would, actually. Crud. So I don't think I want to do that. So I think we're going to pass on the attack there. Yeah, I think we're going to pass on the attack, which means the boss will go into its turn. We'll have 1 energy left. The 2 plus 1 is 3 damage. The 2 damage will run into our block, and then we have 1 HP left. So basically, we have to kill the boss on this turn, which is going to be very close. And I've not been paying attention to my bird-faced urn. I don't think I've been playing many powers with that, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Well, let's see what we're triggering here. That's a 4, which triggers our loaded die, gives us a guaranteed block. We also get a shiv at the start of the turn. I think here I'm going to have to burn my skill potion to play my next skill twice, which will have to be a defend. Would have to be a defend, which will give me 2 block, bringing me up to 3. Then I think we actually do kill the boss here. So I will neutralize the boss to deal 2 damage. Give it a break weapon. We take, actually taking 1 damage, runs into our block, thankfully. Then I'll shiv the boss for 2 to bring it down to 1. And then we'll spend an energy to strike the boss and knock it down to 0. Which I'm sure it would probably run into the rule of if the boss survives, does it do the damage? I'm going to go with the old Marvel Champions Retaliate rule, and since the boss didn't survive, it doesn't deal the it doesn't deal the damage from the spiked hound, or from the spiked hide. So we'll do this by the book, but I think we're just going to pick this game up. Since we are at just about 2 hours on a Friday night, this is Sunday content, especially if I can split it into multiple parts. So we get 3 boss relics to choose from. We'll get our first look at these, but I think we're probably just putting the game away. So our first boss relic is the Astrolabe. Upgrade 3 cards. Use immediately, then discard. Next up, Frozen Core. End of turn, get a block. And Holy Water. Start of combat, place 2 cubes. Remove a cube to gain energy. I would probably take the Frozen Core, just from being solo. Then I get my choice of 3 rare rewards. That. First card up for that. Die. AoE 3 damage and exhaust. Next up, Wraith Form. I can't lose more than 1 HP per round. Start of turn, place a cube. Then exhaust if there are 2 cubes. That costs 3 energy to play, though. And 1,000 Cuts. Whenever you shuffle your draw pile, deal 5 damage to any row. Yeah, I'd probably take would I take 1,000 Cuts or would I take Wraith Form? I think I would probably take Wraith Form if I'm being honest, because I would need more mitigation. That's what I think I would do there. But that'll do it for this playthrough of Slay the Spire, the board game. Yeah, I really enjoyed this game, even playing it true solo. Definitely need to spend a bit more time with this game, and maybe we'll do Act 2 as well, but that's not going to be tonight. I definitely want to make sure I get this set up and start setting up for Mystical Munchies tomorrow morning before I call it a night. But let's go ahead and wrap this video up before I start rambling about this. We'll definitely have a lot to say about this game during Pina with Phoenix. So, busy weekend coming up on the channel. What's scheduled for sure on the channel is that tomorrow morning, Mystical Munchies will commence out of the World of Warcraft New Flavors of Azeroth cookbook, as we'll be making the appetizer, Salty Dog Crackers. That is a change from the fried cheese dumplings that I was going to make. I saw the recipe, kind of panicked more than a little bit at the number of steps it took, so I'm making an amendment on the recipe I'm making. That'll be tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to continue scraping off my rust with my hockey systems as we play a game of Inside the Crease Hockey by Inside Sports Games. Sunday, we're going to have a new war game debut on the channel as we play Silent War 2.0 by Compass Games. There might be at least one more game on Sunday afternoon, but I'm going to hold those close to the vest. As for Monday, we will be continuing Metal Gear Mondays as we play Metal Gear Solid the board game by Simon. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.